Reports on the ongoing saga between the Enugu State Government and Sujimoto Luxury Construction Limited confirm that the company's CEO, Sijibomi Ogundele, has surrendered to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, where he was taken into custody and interrogated for hours in Abuja, following a petition by the Enugu State Government. Findings so far suggest that the government released a 5.7 billion naira, representing half of the contract sum. But according to the petition before the EFCC, the value of work executed on site has been estimated at only 750 million naira. Now, Mr. Ogundele is facing allegations of diversion of funds and money laundering.
This is a contract between my company and the Enugu State Government. Enugu State Government asked me to help them build a couple of things, a couple of projects.
If Mr. Ogundele is not a thief, and in fact he's not a fugitive, who is he in fact? And where did things go wrong? This is Enugu Kwenu. I am Nathalie Uku. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV, and joining me today is Afia TV political and economic correspondent Nnamdi Obaya. Nnamdi, great to have you on set.
Well, good to be here. It's been a while.
It's been quite a while. You went into hibernation. I mean, your jacket says it all. You almost you went into an igloo for a while.
No, you know,
or you're hot in the Ali call it a hot.
We've not had a lot of. Enugu has been quiet. They've just been launching things.
Then we opened up with a scandal, didn't we?
Well, that's why we're here.
So Sujimoto says he is not a thief and he's not a fugitive, the CEO. So who exactly is Sujimoto, and what is your assessment of the developments so far?
First of all, a few questions to be raised. You're building the smart schools. Why Sujimoto? Sujimoto is, well, at least known by what the brand portrays to be a luxury developer. It's luxury condos, luxury apartments, or luxury houses in upscale areas of Lagos and Abuja and Dubai. And so coming to build smart schools first, why is this company being called? Now, the argument could be that maybe it's because of the standard they want to give the smart schools, because if you're someone who constructs luxury apartments and who does luxury developments, you're probably used to working with a lot of quality and with very high standards. And maybe Peter and Bai saying, look, we want to bring high standards and quality to the smart schools. The smart schools is a project that the templates and the plan for it came out a while ago. The government has said what they want to achieve. I think it's one of the most noble things, one in every ward, which I think makes sense. There are those who argue that they should go and renovate the old schools. And, we've always asking questions. Is this absorbing the old schools? What happens to the old ones? Are some built on the old sites? But all those things now, we should take focus from them, because if you remember, the next thing we heard was complaints. Some smart schools are collapsing. Some are not built to standard. And a lot of uproar came. This is just people started talking about political corruption and all that. And then right into the mix comes perhaps one of the most controversial developers in Nigeria.
You call him controversial,
yes.
And we're trying to really gain your input on who Sujimoto's CEO is.
Mr. Sijibomi Ogundele is, well, he's somebody who he's very flamboyant. And that flamboyance is what he uses to push his luxury brand, because he's not selling you utility. He's not selling you dependability or reliability. He's selling you luxury. Now, for those who have forgotten, just before P1 became the real estate villain of Nigeria on social media, where Mr. Scott Iguna, who has made himself a crusader for properties, he was actually on Sujimoto. That was who he was after, for non-payments of staff, for people who were complaining they hadn't seen their land, people who, And talking to some other developers, we hear some things, but you can't really take things at face value. They say, oh, he's just someone who puts his name on buildings. He doesn't really own anything. He's just deals for other people. But all that being said, it's why I use the term controversial, because I don't want to slant the opinion in any way.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting whether he's bad or whether he's good. He's just someone who divides the room. There are those who love him, who think he's a visionary, he's an entrepreneur, he's somebody who's smart, he understands the market, and there are those who think he's not, that he's maybe the Ponzi version of real estate. He's someone who takes money from somebody to build another person's house. So the room is divided in two with regards to Sujimoto. There are those who think he's one of the finest and most vibrant and forward-thinking things to happen to the Nigerian real estate industry, and there are those who think he's a dumpster fire. So it depends on who you ask. Now, coming to Enugu, when he first came, we heard he was coming to invest in the States. We wondered what the investment was. Of course, I knew that there'll be something to do with real estate because that's what he does. But we heard of other things, agro and one or two other things. He's coming to do some stuff with the governor, because it's not just money that someone like Sujimoto brings if he's coming to your state.
Yes.
Because of the kind of business he does, which is, luxury development, the clients and the funders for such things are the people you want to invest in your state. So Governor Peter Mbah bringing him is coming in as an asset to the state.
Yes. So now narrowing it down to where we are now,
Yeah.
I mean, he is currently being grilled, or he has for a long time been grilled by EFCC. Facts are still coming to the fore. But the petition by the Enugu State Government, the petition that was submitted to EFCC, claims that 5.7 billion naira was released, but the work was valued at only 750 million naira. Now, initially, according to the reports, this petition still, Sujimoto was supposed to be given 30% of the budget, but he said in order to fast-track it, he appealed for an extra 20%, bringing it to 50%, and the Enugu State Government conceded, hoping that would help him get it done, and get it done fast. Smart schools are supposed to launch this September.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? If this petition proves true, how can this say that only 750 million naira was invested in the months that he had a hold on the project?
I mean, Enugu State Government, for them to say that, it means they've taken their quantity surveyors to the site, they've measured material, they've measured labor, and they've estimated what has been done on site. The gap between 750 and 5.7 billion is a lot. It's not 800 million that was released, and we're arguing about 50 million out of 800 million. It's the gap between 5.7 and 750. That's a whole lot. Please bear in mind that 10% of 5.7 billion is 570. So we're doing something around 15% of the total work. And this will also be based on the time given to Sujimoto to achieve it. So the time has obviously elapsed, and the amount of work done has not been seen. So, this is where tongues start wagging and conspiracies come in. That the rumor we always hear of, like I said, he splits the room. The half of the room that says he takes from somebody to build for another person, or takes somebody for money here to pay another person's money back. All conspiracy. But this kind of thing gives legs to it. The legs being that you've paid 5.7 billion now, and you can't even account for an estimated 1 billion naira of work, which I think is ridiculous. You are doing it for a state government, and it's an educational project. I think Sujimoto himself, and I'm guessing, may have believed that this is just another government project that will not be taken very seriously and can be done over any stretch of time. And, he could sort out the more pressing issues. Maybe, I'm not saying he does, I'm just saying maybe there are other litigations of people say our work. Because he has another case somewhere of people who are saying that he hasn't finished, that they paid for property, they've not seen the property. And, you can now start having all sorts of conspiracy theories saying, maybe he has taken this money, solved the other one. And maybe he's looking at it as a government contract, because whether we like it or not in Nigeria, the idea of a government contract is not something that people take seriously in Nigeria. Government contracts have always been conduits and pipes to embezzle funds siphon money out of the treasury and feed yourself fat on the dime of the taxpayer. So there's that unseriousness.
Right. So let's talk about some of the reasons that Sujimoto gave. He said that the money was not enough for it because money kept on, the cost of building materials continues to skyrocket. He talked about cement going from 7,000 to 10,000 naira when they came. And then also talking about his back injury following an accident. He claimed he had a back injury following an accident. Also talked about his workers, who, by the way, the Enugu State Government said were quacks, unprofessional, unskilled engineers, in quotes. And these engineers were being attacked at the sites of some of the smart schools. These were the challenges he mentioned, but there was really no escalation in all of this. Are they justified, what he's talking about?
First of all, Sujimoto, as somebody who has been in real estate, and as people who are developers, they develop property in some of the most hostile areas in the south west. They call them Omonile, the sons of the soil, the indigenes, the people that will come, and these guys are well organized. He has gone to places deep in Aja and Via and Ibejuleki and the hostile communities. He cannot say that he does not understand community relations when you are doing such development. Secondly, you are doing a project for the Enugu State Government, meaning that you have the full weight of the might of the chief executive of the state behind you. Thirdly, his back injury, and I sympathize with him on his car accidents. But as somebody who is a developer, there's a hierarchy. The developer is not the one overseeing the project. You have project managers. You have senior project managers, you have junior project managers, you have site managers, you have site supervisors. The fact that he is not there should not even matter.
You don't think he wears many hats? Maybe he's also on air and on ground.
He can be. There's something called oversight as a developer. But you have a project manager on site. And even the project manager has different other site managers. There's somebody, you go to a site, there's somebody whose job it is, even if it is just to look at the iron rods they are using. There's somebody who's monitoring cement a day. There's somebody who even monitors laborers for the day. So, and in that kind of project where he's doing multiple smart schools, he's going to have a project manager for all the smart schools. He's going to have a project manager per smart school. Except, of course, he's minimizing his funds and he's stretching thin and a capable team. Then that falls back on him for being unprofessional, and he has nobody to blame. Then with regards to price rising, everybody's aware prices are rising. We are here in Afia. I know, and in my second hat in senior management, I've had to prepare budgets, I've had to prepare projections and plans. And all my projections and plans have gone belly up, because when we're projecting with fuel at 250 naira, fuel is 900 naira plus, and at a point it's 1,500. We're projecting with EEDC at 71 naira, even trying to put markup for inflation and put it as high as 100%, as far as 100 naira in 5 years. I didn't expect that in 2 years, EEDC will go from 71 naira to 209 naira. So we are all aware where he signed a contract with the government. It's not his first contract. So he knows he can apply for a revisit to the contract. They can revise some terms and conditions, particularly because there are clauses that allow for that. All you have to do was escalate and take advantage of those clauses. Because yes, you say, okay, cement has gone up from this price to this price. So where is his application for a revision of the contract? 1. 2, your people were being attacked. Where is your petition to the Nigerian police force on that? So the two things that are key, prices, and you say your people are being attacked. Where is your police report? And where is your, like you already said, escalation? Where these are all escalation items, by the way. But where is also your contract revision request? Even a contract revision request can save him now. So if he had one.
The question now, I think, because everything will need an escalation. You have to have a report, the police report, and that's such a great point you've made. Yeah. And a contract escalation.
The letter should have gone to the state government.
So what do you think even if stopped him from doing that? Because one would wonder, if you're having this many challenges, probably a medical report should be added, by the way. I mean, why wouldn't you escalate it? Was he scared of escalating, or was he just ignoring it?
There's a bit of, I'm going to sway a bit into the realm of conspiracy theory. But you see, Sujimoto is a smart businessman, and he wants to do a good job and keep in the good books of the government of Enugu State. Having a state government as a client is a big deal, and having them as a partner and being somebody who has built smart schools and you say what to invest. So when they gave him the money, he probably had a profit margin large enough that he thought he could manage price shocks. And probably a revisit would also have led to some other things being talked about that he didn't want to talk about, you know, and any pressure he applied somewhere. So there's that. He might have decided that instead of looking like a whiner and a complainer, let me handle the price shock. And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to handle the price shock, you know. So there's that. If we're holding brief for him, there's that. That is the possibility that he was trying to make himself, you know, sometimes you minimize your profit just so that you can execute this thing, because the person you are doing it for, you are looking at a long-term benefit of being in their good books. You know, it's a business decision sometimes you make, and if he made a decision like that, then there's probably that at the back of his mind, and maybe the price shocks were too much, maybe the price of cement went too high too fast, the logistics costs because of things like diesel went too high too fast, and maybe you even start having grumbling of daily wages and all that. So those things could have happened, and he thought he could handle it and he couldn't. Then if you now couple that with the fact that, like I said, the conspiracy and the hearsay and the wagging of tongues from the construction community that says that he's a kind of Robin Hood guy. You know, Robin Hood takes from the rich and gives to the poor. Where in his own case, it's money on your job taken to cover up for money squandered elsewhere. And, you know, because he might have taken things and bitten off more than he can chew.
That's right.
And as somebody in business who is that flamboyant and who is that controversial, there would have been places where he would have taken some risks and it won't always work well. So sometimes you need other jobs to shore it up. But some people say it's a habit, but I'm not here to be a judge of his character. What I think is he had a perfect storm and he did not make the right decisions when he should have made the right decisions. He probably thought, my profit margin is large enough, let me not go back and be whining to the governor, let me just do this and this and this, but he couldn't handle it. Then his claim of the communities attacking, it's not impossible. You know, we know how opposition behaves in Nigeria. We know how communities behave in Nigeria. But one, he understands community relations. He is a developer. He has built in different places. Two, he has no reports to the Nigerian police complaining. Three, he has no reports even to his clients, the Enugu State Government, that these are some of the challenges I'm facing.
All right.
You know, if he had all these documents down, he wouldn't be... Those things will get him off the hook very easily.
That's right. So let's look at another part of it, and that's actually the major part, the bond, the Jais Bank bond. Now, many people are wondering, civil society organizations are talking, residents are talking. People are asking, why present a bond from Jais Bank and then go ahead and allow the money to be paid into Zenith Bank, or the government's paying the money into Zenith Bank when they obtained the bond from the contractor, a Jais Bank bond. So what do you think happened here? Because this is where the real controversy is. Now, Enugu State Government would have gone straight to Jais Bank, collected the money, but now they can't even go to Zenith, they can't go to Jais Bank, and that is why they probably had to go to EFCC to, you know, get the petition submitted. So what do you think happened at the point of payment of the 5.7 billion for that contract?
Well, you know, what you understand that it doesn't matter. He has the bank for his operations, you know, and a bond is basically is basically a debt. It's a security that you're purchasing, liability. You know, so which bank it comes from doesn't really matter. Once you purchase a liability, you purchase a liability. It's more or less a loan. If you buy a government bond, what you're doing is you're helping government buy their debts. So government can use the money to do something else, like they want to do construction or anything. So if you are getting a state government or anybody's bond, all you are doing is procuring a debt. It's not a big deal, you know. What I will say is that all the people that are making a lot of noise about controversy, perhaps, is two things. One is controlled opposition. You want to make as much noise as possible to show that we told you the Enugu State Government, you know, is a fraud. And secondly, people who are trying to, you know, muddy the waters, because all those things don't really matter. You know, if you get to Sujimoto and you can't get what you want, he's a developer with enough assets and personal and professional assets that can easily be used.
Yeah, so speaking about assets being easily used, now we understand that EFCC has frozen Ogundele's personal and the company accounts and seized his passport to restrict his movement. I mean, we're looking at billions of naira worth of assets. Which passport? I mean, I wouldn't know. I wish I got a picture.
If you think
I'm sure he had.
If you think Sijibomi Ogundele has only one passport.
Yes, because he's someone that trained in France.
Hilarious.
Trained in France, you know, Nigerian. So we can say, okay, he has that, Nigerian passports. You know, he has passports. So they've been seized. and essentially to restrict his movement. I'm not sure if the Nigerian passport will be part of it because then he's in Nigeria. So, he still has to be seized because I go to another African country right now. Yeah. So essentially, this is his travel now. What do you think would be the implication of this, especially for his brand? Because in that video where he cried, shared that emotional moment with his followers, he talked about his reputation. He put a lot of focus on his reputation. And I keep referring to the tears as angry tears because they were not sweet at all. Those were angry tears. Like a lot had been taken away from him, almost like he had his heart ripped out, so a lot is coming to the fore. Now assets have been frozen. Yeah. How do you think all this comes together to tell a better story of what we don't see just on face value?
So you have to understand that he, as a developer, and a luxury developer, like I said, he doesn't sell utility. If you sell rice and beans in the market to everybody, you can sell rice and beans normally. If you're a booker or a local cafeteria selling local food, you can sell at local price. But something that will make your food more expensive will have to do with the ambience, aesthetics, and your reputation. Oh, this person is known for this. So if you're a luxury developer, your reputation is important because people are giving you hundreds of millions and billions of naira to purchase luxury apartments. Sometimes, and when you're a developer, people pay before the project has been built, so that when you finish and you are selling it, they make profit on it. They use it for real estate. They use it for real estate investments. So if your reputation is checkered or it's funny, who is going to hand you over 5 billion naira for property that you've not yet built? You show them an empty swamp and said, "This is going to be prime Mumu estates. Bring your 5 billion naira, and I will give you." Believing that in 2 years there will be an estate there that you would have started selling, and my 5 billion naira would have come to 20 properties, each at 5 million naira, that will bring 10 billion naira and give me 5 billion naira profits. So his reputation is key, and it's not just in Nigeria. Remember I said he has developments in Dubai and other places.
That's right.
And those people don't play.
And let's not forget Banana Island.
But Banana Island is still Nigeria.
Yeah, but I have to mention it because that seems to be key. And there's a certain tower there, I'm sure. Because if you check his page, you see he's very passionate about that tower. And I will not mention the name. I see how you're looking at me. I will not mention the name.
No, it's not.
Okay. So he's very passionate about that tower, and it's enough to flatter anybody. It's a beautiful tower. I mean, he's given 7 stars. So I mean, it could be maybe EFCC. I don't know if they've dabbled into that, but he has quite a number of things, and he lives in Banana Island.
Without even getting to that tower, because of the inflated prices of property, particularly on the island, they can very quickly get this 5.7 billion from him with the things, with assets. But I'm saying that the real problem he has going forward is the international community don't play, and for every money you think you can make selling property in Nigeria, just know that an apartment you sell for $1 million in Dubai, when you sell 10 of them, it will dwarf any number of things you're doing in Nigeria. So that's really important to him. Also, these guys travel for courses, they travel for meetings, they meet people, international investors, all those things. You're all those people. And before foreigners give you an amount of money, they go and do their background check. You don't want to have imagine they just go online and they type Sujimoto, and the first thing that comes out.
Yes, it's your picture on the EFCC website.
Wanted. Enugu State Government freezes assets.
We need to go on a quick break now, but when we return, I would like you to categorically tell us where each of the stakeholders in this went wrong, where the Enugu State Government went wrong, where Sujimoto went wrong, and whomever is at the center of it, I would like you to call it out as well.
Okay.
Enugu Kwenu returns in split second. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Nathalie once again. Still looking at the Sujimoto, smart school contracts and a multi-billion naira situation. We're looking at money diversion, money laundering. Those are the charges he's up against, the CEO of Sujimoto's. I mean, it's easy to start calling him Sujimoto at this point. It's just like nobody even says Sijibomi. It's just like Sujimoto.
Well, he has made Sujimoto his brand.
Yeah.
So he even is referred to by people as Sujimoto.
Yeah.
Nobody calls him Sijibomi Ogundele. It's Sujimoto. Everybody knows him as Sujimoto's. And it's part of the brand. And that's why his reputation is key. Because his personal reputation is tied to his brand reputation, which is tied to his business reputation. petition.
That's right.
So any glitch in anything scatters brings the whole house down.
So now, categorically speaking, let's head into who did what and who should be sanctioned, reprimanded in all of this. Who bears the highest burden? Who bears the most blame in the contract saga? Where did Enugu State Government go wrong in all of this?
I think the first issue with the Enugu State Government is oversight, and what was the process of awarding some smart schools to Sujimoto? What was the reason? We know that some smart schools have been built, have been completed, and are fully operational. Did Sujimoto build any of them? Are any of his own smart schools ready? Why was he given? What did he show? What did he present? These are the things that people need to know. What was the process? Did he bid against anybody? Who are the other people? Because that will let us know why he was chosen. So the Enugu State Government needs to let us know if these smart schools didn't start having issues. Many of us wouldn't even know that Sujimoto was part of the smart school builders, because all we heard in the news was he wants to invest in agriculture or something. He's coming into Enugu, real estate, do some things, going to invest. Those were the terms Sujimoto used. He's coming to invest in Enugu. We didn't know he was going to build smart schools. So we need to know what was the process, what was the rationale, what was the reasoning that led to Sujimoto getting the contract. Now,
So just to put that in perspective, because some kind of information was given collectively, we have information from sources. We also have information from Sujimoto himself, the CEO of Sujimoto. Let's not
he likes to be addressed as Sujimoto actually.
Yeah, exactly, Sujimoto CEO. So he said that he initially came because he was supposed to do a 69-story building for Enugu State. That's actually why he was contracted by the Enugu State Government. He prepared the plan, the design. When he submitted it, the state governor said, keep that aside while we wait for this. As you know, the Enugu City is not ready yet. So, it's not even ready. So while we wait for this, can you take on some smart school projects? That is Sujimoto speaking, not me. So he decided to take it up because government said, you might not make profit from this, but you make profit from other projects as well. And Bomi also now agreed to do it because he just felt like, okay, it's just to mix concrete and cement, and boom, voila, you have a smart school. So he agreed to take it, right? But sources also say that he created an elaborate presentation that showed that he could actually do it, and he was up for the task. But that did not come up in his video, right? He didn't mention that in the viral video. He also did not mention if he actually was invited by EFCC and if he did not go to the invite. So we have a lot of this that has shrouded this case in controversy. He agreed as an adult to take on that project, even asked for an additional 20% to finish it up. So yes, that's actually how he got it. So as per the reason, yes, we know the reason, but why he was trusted, knowing that he's into luxury high-rise buildings,
which is where
is the question.
Which is where my issue is. I have no problem with a luxury person coming to build the smart schools if you're trying to prove that you want to do high standards. And somebody who does luxury, like I said, always uses the best materials, always has the most creative, artistic ways of expression, and perhaps Enugu did not want something mundane. If not, I'll go and get I don't want to call names of construction companies, but we have the great giants that have been building bridges in Nigeria for generations. And recently we know that Afia State contracted them again to start using them, and we know, and I don't want to call their name, even though everybody knows who JB is. That's what I'll say. But the reason I don't want to call their name is because I don't seem like I'm advertising, because it's pretty obvious when they don't do a job, the quality drops. But if I wanted to do smart schools and I gave them that kind of thing, by now they would have rolled out everything. But again, Enugu is also trying to attract, business people into Enugu, and you can see the double-edged sword of the Sujimoto issue. We want to do things in the new Enugu City, but okay, come do smart school. Let's have you ingrained, and so it's a business decision, and we're only questioning it now because it went wrong. But normally in business, you have these little things you use to tie relationships, contracts, and everything together and keep people, because you want to keep money within the state. But I think where Enugu government mostly got it wrong was they should have. We shouldn't have waited. I commend them for taking quick action when they start having smart school issues. But you know the environment you're in. I know that you're doing a job and you feel you don't owe anybody, but actually you do because you work for the people. Had there been an open platform and had people known everybody who is who?
That's the question of transparency. But then away from the Enugu State Government, so you've stated that. Then Sujimoto's, because of time, we have to get into all of that. There's so many sides of this.
Sujimoto's, I've expressed a lot of it already on the program. One is that if indeed you are facing issues, where were your escalation documents? Where's your police report? Where's your bid for revision of your contract due to price increases? Where's your complaint even to a chief or a local government chairman in the area? Where's your community discussion? Who's your community representative? If you're having problems, where are all these things? And if the government are saying that he was very unprofessional, the government too faulted in oversight, because how often were they going to check his contracts? Because they would have seen problems early if they had somebody that had been going to check it from the Ministry of Education, or somebody who was maybe whoever is the project manager in the government setting for, is it works, is it education, is it housing? Who is the person that is the it's an interministerial thing.
Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Yeah, but it's to be used by Ministry of Education.
Yes. Ministry of Education.
And it's to push the agenda of the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology.
So everybody gets involved. And now the big question is, who should be held most accountable?
Who is responsible for
controversy?
Oversight of the smart school constructions? The follow-up was not constant, it was not frequent, it was not in-depth, it was not deliberate, because a lot of things would have been seen earlier than this.
But then there's also another side of this. You focus on follow-up, but let's also remember that the Enugu State Government, in its own statement, revealed that they had contacted Sijibomi many times, but he did not
Is this formally
respond.
or informally?
Contacted in different ways, and he wasn't responding. They say he actually absconded, he vanished
when we get to
the site.
When we get to the court of law, informal connections, except they are, printed WhatsApp.
Hard evidence,
they would not fly. So just like I'm saying that, Sujimoto should have his physical documentation, the Enugu State Government too needs to bring out all the evidence of communication too, that we've been contacting this guy. Then for Sujimoto himself, you have a project like this. Who are your project managers? Who are their own sub-project managers? Where are the site managers? Who are the people in charge of organizing all these things? Where are they? Because if you are not on top of all that, of course you have issues. So Sujimoto himself had an oversight issue. Sujimoto had an oversight issue. Enugu State Government had their oversight issue.
Let me also present the other side, because Sujimoto is being accused at the same time of premeditated fraud. And that means that he had no intention, if the allegation against him proves true by the Enugu State Government, that he had no plan to actually finish the smart schools, because they said first of all, they are citing the bond issue as well. So they have nothing to hold on to. So it's assumed that Sujimoto diverted funds to other places that, like you said, robbing Peter to pay Paul, like Robin Hood, but not Robin Hood at the same time, because then rich to rich. Well, so he decided to divert funds, right? So they feel like that is, right now, he's being interrogated for funds diversion, because reports are coming out that show that he was in fact using the money for the smart schools to pay other liabilities he had elsewhere. Employees.
That's what I've been saying. That people.
But you say oversight by Sijibomi.
No,
was he going to oversee anything?
I'm taking the different angles of it. I'm taking the different acquisitions the government made. Apart from the financial, there's also the physical problems. They are saying the quality of work and all that. So that quality of work is an oversight issue. Because quality of work is an oversight issue. The financial side is totally different. In that, I've already told you, the law and the industry law about Sujimoto is he takes the money from the new project to pay for the last one. And you wait for your own project, your money for another project comes, then to be brought to finish your own. So maybe when it was time to construct the 69-story tower, the money from that would have been used to do the smart schools.
So do you think he felt that this government would just cross its legs and wait for him to get the tower and then use that for the smart schools, and the cycle would go on?
It's a cultural thing. Nobody ever thinks that any government is going to be serious about the deadline for infrastructure. There's always, I'm sorry. But, he didn't expect that we are not in the era of I'm sorry anymore. And like I said also, he had probably calculated it that he could take some funds, handle some liabilities, deplete his profit line, his profit margin, deplete it, no need. But he will solve old problems and he would do this job. And then the Tinubu economic inflation process.
So we're still on the issue of responsibility. Whose head would the hammer be for?
Unfortunately for Sujimoto, he's the person that was contacted by a client to execute a project. Contracts are very simple. You have offer and you have acceptance after your invitation to treat. Your considerations are set in place, and everybody should be, legally. You should be legally able to enter into a contract, or it's a void contract. Once the contract is not void, whoever has their considerations violated is the person that is immediately at fault. If the government have met their own consideration, which was to provide 50% of the money up front to enable, in fact, they have consideration and improved consideration from 30 to 50%, they have met their end. Sujimoto's own end is to provide a certain number of smart schools at a certain time. Now, clause in the contract is, if the economic issues, acts of God, those things are there, that revision he did not request for the contract is where he has, will I say, hung himself. Because the truth is, when you get to court, everything we're saying, this person did not do oversight, this person should have done this, all those things won't matter. The contract will be put up, the considerations will be put side, will be juxtaposed, side by side. Did you meet your consideration in Enugu State? Yes. Sujimoto, how far? And that's all it's going to boil down to, unfortunately for him.
So are there people within the Enugu State Government that you think should be investigated? You mentioned earlier that, there are many people that should have been overseeing this, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. I mean, they're all the science and technology.
A lot of people, yeah.
So a lot of people are part of it. So are there specific people that should be investigated? Accountant General has come up in other, for paying the money into an account that was not secured with the bond, that was a real oversight, not necessarily arrested or anything. It might have just been a case of ignorance, right? Well,
you could say ignorance, you could say incompetence, you could say a slip or anything, but the truth is this. The Accountant General cannot be faulted for paying into an account that is presented on a legal invoice. Because doing something else is what amounts to fraud. Imagine if he said, no, this account is not secured by the bond. I think this one, pay it there. If Sujimoto comes tomorrow and says, that's not the account I put on my invoice, what do you say? You see, he must always follow legal, as long as he paid into the account that Sujimoto presented on an invoice. There's nothing you can do. Nothing at all. He has done nothing wrong. For the ministries I said have done oversight, there's nothing you can say that maybe we've not heard, maybe they have been doing, we don't know. But my complaint to them is that we've not heard anything from them, not that they've done anything illegal. What we want to see over time is, and this is what worries me about Nigeria, are there conspirators within the Enugu State Government? Because that's where there might be issues. If there are people within the state government that conspire with Sujimoto, that this diversion of funds was because there are people inside who said, if the governor gives you this money, this is my share. And Sujimoto was the business calculated, okay, if I up you to 50% up front, I can give Natalie this, I can give Namdi this, and I'll still do it. And I'll still pay him the salary I'm owing, I'll pay that man that I've not finished, I'll finish the house for that man, I'll do. And then cement prices triple, fuel prices double, energy prices quadruple. And suddenly you are, even if you plan for a 10-20% increase in prices, in 1 year, 1.5 years, prices are doing a minimum of 3 to 4 times their former price, and you don't know what to do. Even the things you cannot acquire here, the value of the dollar to the naira goes from 4,000 to 1,500, almost 4 times.
Right.
So all of a sudden you are, so unfortunately for Sujimoto, is the perfect storm of things around, and he himself, with his reputation, with his inability to escalate, and the fact that the Enugu State Government has a clean bill of health considerations wise. And if he has anybody within the government that he's doing under the tables deal with, those things are extra contract issues. They're not on the contract. The Enugu State Government cannot be held because those people are not operating as agents of Enugu State Government. They're operating on their own. They are not part of the state government infrastructure. And they and Sujimoto will have to settle themselves in another different corruption. Sujimoto will now go and hold them for corruption somewhere else. But for Enugu State Government, he is the one right now that is in a bit of hot water.
There are pockets of belief that say that it is now business unusual for Enugu contractors, that contractors in Enugu are not going to be able to do things as they used to before.
I mean, it's the same thing that we saw people complaining about Alex Oti in Afia. You know, recently I saw their smart schools. I was disappointed. They look like village schools. I have not heard Alex Oti's report on it. But when you hear a lot of contractors complaining, just know that somebody has come in with the hammer and is not doing things as they used to. So these guys are all coming from private sector. Peter Mba, Alex Oti, they're coming from the private sector. So of course, it's not business as usual. And also, they've also done something where Peter Mba seems to not be aligned with the old faction of the PDP. It's almost like they've created a new political class in the state. And you look at Afia, where Alex Oti literally has created a new political class in the state. So they've brought in new people. So it's not the same. And we'll be looking at this, but half of me knows how this will end up.
All right, now we're already out of time, and you know there are ethnic dimensions to explore.
Yeah.
In Enugu have talent. We have talent. The contractors are here, but they also have pundits and of course analysts on our different shows who have said that you don't have all the statistics. You don't know how many schools were awarded to Enugu or contractors from other regions, right? So I mean, we have to draw the curtains at this point, but there's a very important angle we have to address. There are many people that have seen this, and they're all about the smart school project being a complete fraud. It exposes the fraud in the smart school project. That's what they say. That's the heading of the messages that you see, especially when we have our tip-off messages coming. So essentially, do you think that this has branded the Enugu Smart School project as a total fraud?
The Smart School project is not a fraud. I don't need to say too much about that. It's not a fraud. It's a well-intentioned project. And unfortunately, because we're not used to doing things properly in Nigeria, that's what will happen. But it's a sensible project. Putting a smart school walking distance away from every child in every community, in every village, how can that be a fraud? It's supposed to fight to make it work. The problem is in Nigeria, they're always hoping that opposition fails so they can say, we told you. About the ethnic dimension, can I just address in Enugu for 2 seconds? When you learn to do work properly, people won't have to call people from outside. It's easy to say, why is Peter Mba going to bring Sujimoto? Show me the Indian Enugu that has built what Sujimoto has built anywhere in the world. When you can show me, come back and we'll talk. We have Enugu where we have luxury houses that have crooked walls, bad electronics. People have to bring in artisans to do work in this town. Get your act together. Nobody will bring it from outside. There is no ethnic dimension to this. We are all Igbo. We know how this works. Igbo people will always hire the best. And if you have not proved yourself to be the best here in Enugu, you cannot blame the governor for going out to get the best.
I mean, this has been an amazing chat, Nnamdi, on today's show. Now, because we've already extended it, I mean, we can't get enough of the show. Some people believe, interesting pundits believe that we should not have 260 smart schools. In fact, we should have 17 smart schools in the various local governments. That going to 260 is an overkill, that the government cannot and will not finish it within this administration. That there should have been 17 smart schools to start with for the first 4 years, and then 17, that it shouldn't have been all together at once. What's your quick take?
The ignorance and insensitivity of elitism is what is at play here. You think everybody has a driver to go and drop their child in school? The smart schools are K to 12, early schools. They're not secondary schools. At secondary school level, you can be thinking at local government level. You're talking of basic primary school that has to be in a place where mothers can go and get children after school, where children can stroll to the house in safety without strolling long distances. The elitism, the false elitism in this dumpster fire without constant light, water, or infrastructure that we see in Nigeria, it amazes me sometimes. 260 is the right number. When it's something I've been, look, before even Peter Mba anything, I'd always said that if anybody wants to do anything proper in education, you have to get education sorted at ward level.
All right.
Because when they're at ward level, every child has a chance. But you see, at least they say 17. Let's put that into perspective. Just to get me, in Kwenu West, one smart school, where will you put it? If you put it in Ozara, how would children in Nome, Akbugu, and Co get there? If you put it at Akbugu, how do the kids in Obey another? If you put, so you don't think, you just hear one in every local government. Do you know how big a local government is? Do you put one in Udi, where will you put it? Ungo? Abia, where will you put it?
Okay, so final question, Nnamdi. September, we're already in September, and smart schools are supposed to launch this September. I mean, this has obviously been some kind of a pushback caused by Sujimoto CEO. Do you see this September deadline still being realizable?
All smart schools don't have to launch. Let the smart schools that are already launch.
All right. Thank you, Namdi, for your time this evening. I mean, I will not say bye because I'm still going to see you. So I'll just keep it simple. On behalf of the entire production team of Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV, this is saying thank you for watching and good evening once more. Bye for now.